And what's up, everybody? I'm back with another video game review, and today we are doing Bayonetta 3. That's right, I did Bayonetta 1 already, I did Bayonetta 2 already, now we're on Bayonetta 3. Released, I believe, back in 2021 on the Switch, and I purchased this the same time I purchased Bayonetta 1, but it took me quite a while longer to get around to playing it, and I had some really high hopes going into this game, and the fun ran out with Bayonetta, at least for now, because they'll probably make a Bayonetta 4 eventually, but yeah, this game was a kind of a letdown, and you might be thinking, oh my god, you actually don't like a Bayonetta game for once? What is this mortality? Pringleson's not doing very good. Is he ill? What's going on? Looking, I had very high hopes for Bayonetta 3. I really did. Bayonetta 1 and 2 are absolute masterpieces of a video game. But how did 3 come down to the equation? So let's jump right into it, shall we? I didn't think Bayonetta was as hot as I should say in this game as she was in 1 and 2. They definitely got a little bit more towards away from M and towards PG-13 with kind of the way they made her look. She still looked really, really good, especially in some of the animations, especially when they go to like herself in a different dimension. Oh man, that was good. Yeah, she still looks good. Just not what they definitely toned her down a little bit, I should say. But there was a lot of new stuff they introduced in this game as well. I thought Bayonetta 1 and 2, for the most part, followed the same formula. As far as like game mechanics and enemies and levels and like characters, I thought for the most part they were pretty similar. The only difference between Bayonetta 1 and 2 that I can really think of is that 2 is more of a button masher than 1, but they both, have that same sort of little skill in it. 3 takes it to a completely different sector. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different stuff that they introduce here. They introduced the concept of like multiverses, and there's new characters that they introduce. There's this new girl that goes on the mission with Bayonetta through like the dimensions and stuff like that. There are new sceneries as well, and there's new enemies, and there's all of this sort of stuff. It's honestly quite a lot to process, and some of it was pretty hard to get behind. Like the concept of multiverses, kind of epitomizes the gaming universe as a whole right now, because everything has to have a universe. Why? It makes sense in Bayonetta more than other games, I think. I don't know, it just still doesn't feel necessary, in my opinion, to have the multiverses. It just feels like they kind of just cheaply threw it in. There's also a new health bar indicator. That's another one of the new things. I don't like it. They use, again, like I said, they use the same ones for 1 and 2. Why are you changing it up? I didn't see any problem with it. It helped indicate, like, especially veteran players of the game, like I was. I knew, based on color, how many there actually were going to be. Now there's this tiny little thing on the screen, like this tiny little indicator, that there's multiple, and it goes by number increment. It just doesn't make any sense. Why would you change it? It doesn't really make any sense. And also, the game style is probably the biggest change of this game. They, Bayonetta 1 and 2 were very both story and combat driven. That was really it. I mean, you had long cutscenes for story, or you were beating the shit out of stuff for a level. There was really no in between. This game takes that a little differently. You still got the combat. The combat's a little different, though. It's not as much of a button masher, but it's not really strategic either. It's kind of just bullshitting it, and you gotta use a little bit more ranged stuff. But now they're throwing in more puzzle stuff as well. And they do that with like collectibles. They introduce collectibles in this game, and I thought finding the collectibles was actually pretty fun. Some of the puzzles were really cool to do. Some of them are a little hard to figure out because there was just too much tedious tasks to do to get the collectible, and they were hidden in pretty obscure locations as well. But I thought otherwise they were fine. But with the puzzles, it also takes on more of an open world, like roaming around and stuff like that. When you do fight, it's more optional to fight than in the past games. It doesn't block you as much, though they still do that, but it's not as like extreme. And like I said, there's more puzzles and stuff, and some games it works, but with Bayonetta, the formula that you had for the first two games worked out just fine. The puzzle part of it just really doesn't work for me. I didn't really enjoy it as much as I thought I would. I just kind of felt like it was more shoehorned in. It wasn't necessarily necessary, I should say, if you know what I mean there. And it just didn't make any... Like, why would you change up the formula that much? I mean, there's a bunch of other smaller things that happen. I mean, I could tell the characters got different voice actors as well, and they didn't sound as good. It's pretty noticeable. It's not like terrible. Like, it didn't affect my vision of how they were or like the game itself, but you could clearly tell there was a difference. Not just one character, pretty much every character got an overhaul, I think. But yeah, I guess the open world, more puzzle concept, it was kind of a turnoff. I mean, a lot of these parts of the game I didn't get the same, like, feelings that I did when I played the first two. Like, the first two games, I fired it up and I was like, wow, this is an experience. And I just beelined it through the game. With Bayonetta 3, I really didn't get that. I mean, it was not even like, from the get-go, it just had a different mood. It had a different vibe to it. And that was kind of sad, because I had a lot of hype coming into the game. It's been a long time since I've been so hyped for a game. Well, not that long. I guess I was very hyped for Pikmin 4. And Mario Wonder, I guess, hasn't been that long. But, you get what I'm saying. So, it was still a little disappointing, you know what I mean? But I know that's my opinion. I think a lot of other people, some other people might feel different about the puzzle aspect of it. And the open world, they might have liked it. They might have not. I don't know. You don't need to fix something that isn't broken. I think Bayonetta 1 and 2 were masterpieces. And there really wasn't much you needed to repair or fix. Of course, story changes and maybe graphical upgrades and some new mechanics and stuff. You want to keep things fresh. I understand that. You don't want to just keep throwing out the same thing year after year and call it a new game, because that's false advertising. Talking to you, EA. But you don't want to completely throw off the entire perception of the game to try and appeal to an audience. You know what I mean? So that's going to do it for this review. Now here comes the hard part, giving it a score. I was so prepared from the moment I put in the cartridge to give this game a 10 out of 10. And I'm not going to give it a 10 out of 10. I'm going to give it a 7. It's still an enjoyable game, and I definitely recommend you try it. However, it was not for me. Does not nearly come to the same level as the first two, in my opinion. Still a fun game, but not that same potential, which is kind of sad. So, but I'm still very much looking forward to Bayonetta 4, and hopefully that will come out soon. Hopefully. We'll see. It's only been a few years since 3, so might have to wait a little longer, but... Anyways, that's going to do for this review. If you've ever played Bayonetta 3, I'd love to know your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. And that's going to do it for this video, so stay tuned for much more amazing content, including more game reviews and other awesome stuff. Until next time, see you guys later. Goodbye.